Hi everyone, today we are going to discuss chapter 9, which is about organizational structure. This chapter begins by reviewing the traditional organization structure approach to organizational design. Organization structure is the vertical and horizontal configuration of departments, authority, and the jobs within a company. In the second half of the chapter, we will learn how contemporary organizations are becoming more adaptive by redesigning their internal and external processes. An organizational process is the collection of activities that transforms inputs into outputs that customers value. Here you can see the basic internal and external process that Microsoft uses to write computer software, beginning from customer feedback and ending with the software distribution and sales. Collect information from customers, feedback, emails, phone calls, letters, ending up with distribute and sell software to customers. We are going to talk about departmentalization. So 5 different departmentalizations are discussed in this chapter. Most common organization structure is functional departmentalization. Companies tend to use this structure when they are small or just starting up. Functional departmentalization organizes work and workers into separate units responsible for particular business functions or areas of expertise. For example, a common set of functions would consist of accounting, sales, marketing, production, and human resource departments. However, not all functionally departmentalized companies have the same function. Product departmentalization organizes work and workers into separate units responsible for production, particular products, or services. Functional departmentalization has some advantages. It allows work to be done by highly qualified specialists, while the accountants in the accounting department take responsibility for producing accurate revenue and expense figures. The engineers in research and development can focus their effort on designing a product that is reliable and simple to manufacture. Second, it lowers cost by reducing duplication. When the engineers in research and development come up with that fantastic new product, they don't have to worry about creating an aggressive advertising campaign to sell it. That task belongs to the advertising experts and sales representatives in marketing. Third, with everyone in the same department having similar work experience or training, communication and coordination are less problematic for departmental managers. However, functional departmentalization has a number of disadvantages too. To start, cross-department coordination can be difficult. Managers and employees are often more interested in doing what is right for their function than in doing what is right for the entire organization. A good example is the traditional conflict between marketing and manufacturing. Marketing typically pushes for spending more money to make more product with more accessories and capabilities to meet customer needs. By contrast, manufacturing pushes for fewer products with simpler designs so that manufacturing facilities can ship finished product on time and keep cost within expense budgets. As companies grow, functional departmentalization may also lead to slower decision-making and produce managers and workers with narrow experience and expertise. One of the advantages of product departmentalization is that, like functional departmentalization, it allows managers and workers to specialize in one area of expertise. However, unlike the narrow expertise and experiences in functional departmentalization, managers and workers develop a broader set of experience and expertise related to an entire product line. Likewise, product departmentalization makes it easier for top managers to assess work unit performance. Finally, because managers and workers are responsible for the entire product line rather than for separate functional departments, decision-making should be faster because there are fewer conflicts when we compare to functional departmentalization. The primary disadvantage of product departmentalization is duplication. A second disadvantage is that it can be difficult to achieve coordination across the different product departments. Customer departmentalization organizes work and workers into separate units responsible for particular kinds of customers. This figure shows that Sprint is organized into departments that cater to business customers, homes, and companies requiring supply chain services. The primary advantage to customer departmentalization is that it focuses the organization on a customer needs rather than on a product or business function. Furthermore, creating separate departments to serve specific kinds of customers allows companies to specialize and adapt their product and services to customer needs and problems. The primary advantage of customer departmentalization is that, like product departmentalization, it leads to duplication of resources. It can be difficult to achieve coordination across different customer departments. Finally, the emphasis on meeting customers' needs may lead workers to make decisions that please customers but hurt the business. So the primary advantage of geographic departmentalization is that it helps companies respond to the demands of different markets. This can be especially important when selling in different countries. Another advantage is that geographic departmentalization can reduce costs by locating unique organizational resources closer to customers. The primary disadvantage of geographic departmentalization is that it can lead to duplication of resources. Matrix departmentalization is a hybrid structure in which two or more forms of departmentalization are used together. The most common matrix combines product and functional forms of departmentalization. Several things distinguish matrix departmentalization from the other traditional forms of departmentalization. First, most employees report to two bosses, a functional boss and a project or product boss. Second, by virtue of the function by project design, matrix structure leads to much more cross-functional interaction than other forms of departmentalization. While matrix workers are members of only one functional department based on their work experience and expertise, it is common for them to be members of several ongoing project groups. Third, because of the high level of cross-functional interaction, matrix departmentalization requires significant coordination between functional and project managers. These managers have the complex job of tracking and managing the multiple project and functional demands on employees' time. The primary advantage of matrix departmentalization is that it allows companies to efficiently manage large, complex tasks like researching, developing, and marketing pharmaceuticals. Efficiency comes from avoiding duplication. For example, rather than having an entire marketing function for each project, the company simply assigns and reassigns workers from the marketing department as they are needed at different stages of product completion. More specifically, an employee from a department may simultaneously be part of 5 different ongoing projects, but may only be actively completing work on a few projects at a time. Another advantage is the ability to carry out large, complex tasks. Because of the ability to quickly pull in expert help from all the functional areas of the company, matrix project managers have a much more diverse set of expertise and experience at their disposal than do managers in the other forms of departmentalization. The primary disadvantage of matrix departmentalization is the high level of coordination required to manage the complexity involved with running a large ongoing project at different level of completion. Matrix structures are notorious for confusion and conflict between project bosses or between project and functional bosses. Disagreement or misunderstanding about project schedules, budgets, available resources, and the availability of employees with a particular functional expertise are common. Another disadvantage is that matrix structures require much more management skills than the other form of departmentalization. Because of these problems, many matrix structures evolved from the simple matrix in which project and functional managers negotiate conflict and resources to the complex matrix in which specialized matrix managers and departments are added to the organizational structure. In the complex matrix, project and functional managers report to the same matrix manager who helps them sort out conflicts and problems. The chain of command is the vertical line of authority that clarifies who reports to whom throughout the organization. People hired in the chain of command have the right, if they so choose, to give commands, take action, occurring anywhere below them in the chain. One of the key assumptions underlying the chain of command is unity of command, which means that workers should report to just one boss. In practical terms, this means that only one person can be in charge at a time. Matrix organizations in which employees have 2 bosses automatically violate this principle. So this is one of the primary reasons that matrix organizations are difficult to manage. The purpose of unity of command is to prevent the confusion that might arise when an employee receives conflicting commands from 2 different bosses. A second dimension of authority is the distinction between line and the staff authority. Line authority is the right to command immediate subordinates in the chain of command. Staff authority is the right to advise but not command others who are not subordinates in the chain of command. The terms line and staff are also used to describe different functions within the organization. A line function is an activity that contributes directly to creating or selling the company's products. For example, activities that take place within the manufacturing and marketing department would be considered line functions. A step function is one that does not contribute directly to creating or selling the company's products, but instead supports line activities. Typically, step functions within an organization are accounting, human resources, and legal services. For example, marketing managers might consult with the legal staff to make sure wording of a particular advertisement is legal. Managers can exercise their authority directly by completing the task themselves, or they can choose to pass on some of their authority to subordinates. Delegation of authority is the assignment of direct authority and responsibility to a subordinate to complete task for which the manager is normally responsible. When a manager delegates work, their transfers occur. First, the manager transfers full responsibility for the assignment to the subordinates. Indeed, most managers have way too much to do. From a practical perspective, they cannot assume new responsibilities that come with change and growth until they fully delegate old ones. Another problem is that managers often fear that the task won't be done as well if they don't do it themselves. Second, delegation transfers to the subordinates full authority over the budget, resources, and personnel needed to do the job. To do the job effectively, subordinates must have the same tools and information at their disposal that managers had when they were responsible for the same task. The third transfer that occurs with the delegation is the transfer of accountability. The subordinate now has the authority and the responsibility to do the job, is then accountable for getting the job done. In other words, managers give subordinates their managerial authority and responsibility in exchange for results. This slide tells us how to be a more effective delegator. You have to trust your staff. Avoid seeing perfection. Follow up on progress. Know your true interests. Ask questions. Don't wait to the last minute to delegate. Delegate to the lowest possible level and provide the resources you would provide if doing the assignment yourself. These are some important recommendations, suggestions given from this chapter, how to be a more effective delegator. Centralization of authority is the location of most authority at the upper levels of the organization. In a centralized organization, managers make most decisions, even the relatively small ones. Decentralization is the location of a significant amount of authority in the lower levels of the organization. An organization is decentralized if it has a high degree of delegation at all levels. In a decentralized organization, workers closest to problems are authorized to make the decision necessary to solve the problems on their own. So Decentralization has a number of advantages. It develops employee capabilities throughout the company, and it leads to faster decision-making and more satisfied customers and employees. With the result like these, the key question is no longer whether companies should decentralize, but where they should decentralize. One rule of thumb is to stay centralized where standardization is important, and to centralize where standardization is unimportant. Standardization is solving problems by consistently applying the same rules, procedures, and process. Job specialization is a job composed of a small part of a larger task or process. Specialized jobs are characterized by simple, easy to learn steps, low variety, and high repetition. One of the clear disadvantages of specialized jobs is that being so easy to learn, they quickly become boring. This can lead to low job satisfaction and high absenteeism and employee turnover, all of which are very costly to organization. Why then do companies continue to create and use specialized jobs? The primary reason is that specialized jobs are very economical. Once a job has been specialized, it takes little time to learn and master. Consequently, when experienced workers quit or are absent, the company loses little productivity when replacing them with a new employee. The text uses the extended example of the drive-through employee at the fast food restaurant. Job rotation attempts to overcome the disadvantages of job specializations by periodically moving workers from one specialized job to another to give them more variety and the opportunity to use different skills. Another way to counter the disadvantages of specialization is to enlarge the job. Job enlargement is increasing the number of different tasks that a worker performs within one particular job. So instead of having to perform job or to perform just one task, workers with enlarged jobs would be given several tasks to perform. Job enrichment attempts to overcome the deficiencies in specialized work by increasing the number of tasks and by giving workers the authority and the control to make meaningful decisions about their work. The central outcomes of job characteristic model is internal motivation. Internal motivation is motivation that comes from the job itself rather than from outside rewards, such as a raise or prize from the boss. If workers feel that performing the job well is itself rewarding, then the job has internal motivation. Workers must experience the work as meaningful. That is, they must view their job as being important. They must experience responsibility for work outcomes. They must feel personally responsible for the work being done well. Workers also must have knowledge of results That is, know how well they are performing their jobs. All three critical psychological states must occur for work to be internally motivating. The primary goal of the job characteristic model is to create jobs that result in positive personal and work outcomes such as internal work motivation, satisfaction with one's job, and work effectiveness. The central concern is internal motivation. Combining tasks increases skills variety and task identity by joining separate specialized tasks into larger work modules. Establishing client relationship increases skills, variety, authority, and a feedback by giving employees direct contact with the clients and customers. In some companies, truck drivers are expected to establish business relationship with their regular customers. When something goes wrong with a shipment, customers are told to call drivers directly. Vertical loading means pushing some managerial authority down to workers. Opening feedback channels means finding additional ways to give employee direct, frequent feedback about their job performance. Nearly 40 years ago, Tom Burns and G.M. Stalker described how two kinds of organization design, mechanistic and organic, are appropriate for different kind of organizational environment. Mechanistic organizations are characterized by specialized jobs and responsibilities, precisely defined, unchanging roles, and a rigid chain of command based on centralized authority and vertical communication. This type of organization works best in stable, unchanging business environments. By contrast, organic organizations are characterized by broadly defined jobs and responsibility, loosely defined, frequently changing roles, and decentralized authority and horizontal communication based on task knowledge. This type of organization works best in dynamic, changing business environments. Re-engineering changes work by changing task interdependence. The three kinds of task independence are given in pooled interdependence. Each job or department independently contributes to the whole. In the second one, sequential independence, work must be performed in succession as one group's output become the input of the next group or job. The third one is reciprocal interdependence. Different jobs or groups work together in a back and forth manner to complete the process. Re-engineering is the fundamental rethinking and radical design of business process to achieve dramatic improvements in critical contemporary measures of performance, such as cost, quality, service, and speed. Hammer and Champy further explain the four key words shown in italic in this definition. The first key word is fundamental. When re-engineering organizational design, managers must ask themselves, why do we do what we do? And why do we do it the way we do? The usual answer is because that is the way we have always done it. The second keyword is radical. Reengineering is about significant change, about starting over by throwing out the old ways of getting work done. The third keyword is processes. Hammer and Champy noted that most business people are not process-oriented. They are focused on tasks, on jobs, on people, on structures, but not on processes. The fourth keyword is dramatic. Re-engineering is about achieving quantum improvement in company performance. Re-engineering changes an organization's orientation from vertical to horizontal. Instead of taking orders from upper management, lower and middle level managers and workers take orders from a customer who is at the beginning and of each process. In a sense, re-engineering changes work by changing that interdependence, the extent to which collective action is required to complete an entire piece of work. Empowerment is also important when you manage people. Empowering workers means permanently passing decision-making authority and the responsibility from managers to workers. However, for workers to be fully empowered, companies must give them the information and the resources they need to make and carry out good decisions, and then reward them for taking individual initiative. Empowerment is a feeling of intrinsic motivation in which workers perceive their work to have meaning and perceive themselves to be competent, having an impact, and capable of self-determination. Work has meaning when it is consistent with personal standards and beliefs. Workers feel competent when they believe they can perform an activity with skill. The belief that they are having an impact comes from a feeling that they can affect work outcomes. A feeling of self-determination arises from workers' belief that they have the authority to choose how best to do their work. Empowerment can lead to changes in organizational processes because meaning, competence, impact, and self-determination produce empowered employees who take active rather than passive roles in their works. Behavioral informality or formality is a third influence on intra-organizational process. Behavioral informality refers to workplace situation characterized by spontaneity, casualness, and interpersonal familiarity. By contrast, behavioral formality refers to workplace situations characterized by routine and regimen, specific rules about how to behave, and impersonal detachment. Casual dress policies and open office systems are two of the most popular methods for increasing behavior informality. A virtual organization is part of a network in which many companies share skills, cost, capabilities, markets, and customers with each other. However, unlike modular organizations, in which outside organizations are tightly linked to one central company, virtual organizations work with some companies in the network alliance, but not with all. Modular organizations have several advantages because modular organizations pay for outsourced labor, expertise, or manufacturing capabilities only when needed. They can cost significantly less to run than traditional organizations. It lets a company focus on their core competencies. To obtain these advantages, it is important that modular organizations work closely with reliable partners that they trust. Disadvantages include the loss of control that occurs when key activities are outsourced to other companies. Also, it reduces a company's competitive advantage if they mistakenly outsource a core business activity. Competitive and technological change may produce a situation in which the non-core business a company has outsourced become the basis for competitive advantage. Second, companies which work is outsourced may become competitive. A virtual organization is part of a network in which many companies share skills, costs, capabilities, markets, and customers with each other. Advantages and disadvantages of a virtual organization given in this slide. One of the advantages of virtual organization is flexibility, fast and flexible. Being the best should provide better products and let companies share costs. Disadvantages, on the other hand, it's difficult to control the quality of partners and also requires tremendous management skills.